we're here at Spirit Tree. Tom, you've joined us. Tell us a little bit about, first of all, yourself and how you're involved with everything, and then about the cidery.
That's a long answer. So Spirit Tree Estate Cidery, we opened in 2009, so it was September 2009 we opened the facility. This was property we purchased in 2005 with the goal of putting an orchard in and building a cidery. But my family has been growing apples for some time, since 1952, when my grandfather planted the first family orchard, which was the farm I grew up on, and made my own cider on. And we actually made the decision to sell that farm to relocate to this location, and with the vision of building a European cidery. Along that journey, we realized that the industry itself was in its infancy and needed direction, and so I was one of the founders of Ontario Craft Cider, which is now 6 years old as well. And I've been was a vice chair for 3 years, and I've been this is my third year now as chair of the association.
And how did you get into the full process of here? You decided to buy it where you were always a farmer yourself, and you felt to keep moving forward, that was the right step, was to find a bigger, better place and go forward from there?
I'd taken over the family farm. We were growing fruits and vegetables, mostly apples, and what I found was the industry had really changed. It was in decline, significantly in decline, even though Ontario is the largest apple growing province in the country. Especially farms that weren't more modernized, and my grandfather's farm was year-old, big, giant, standard trees. So what we found is there was no profitability there. It was not in good shape, and so I realized I wanted to do something that wasn't so seasonal, wasn't so crop dependent year to year, and that also was something more value added, because I saw a future there. And so that's when we decided that potentially making cider would be an opportunity. And when we looked at some numbers and looked at where the market was, we thought, well, maybe there is an interest here in something that really didn't exist at the time in the market. I'd like that aspect, that we could grow apples and then make cider here and sell it year round. And so we decided to take that adventure. And it's proven to be the case. Cider's really exploded across North America and even international markets. And now unfortunately it's more of a provincial issue, like I said, which is why we needed the industry to create the association. Was the taxation here in Ontario has really stopped any type of cider industry from taking off.
We'll swing back to some of that discussion and stay here at the moment. What are the facilities that are here on site?
Sure. We wanted to create something that was true to what cider is, and it's like what it was before, and also what it is in Europe as far as being a full estate cidery. So we grew the apples. We had a facility where we were then storing them, pressing them into juice, aging them, and fermenting the juice into cider, and then packaging it. And we realized that cider is really a new beverage, even though it's got such a long history. It's really a new beverage to consumers. So we realized we had to build a place where people could come and immerse themselves in the story of cider and the culture of cider. So try good food and try different ciders, which meant we just didn't build a barn with a cider press in it. We had to go full in here and create a bit of a destination that was to sell good food, have a little bistro restaurant where people could enjoy good food and try the ciders. And we wanted it to even look, not only look like it was something out of England, but also at the same time was something that was energy efficient and really fit with being conscious of energy conservation and the environment. So we built an environmental, sustainable building using straw bale construction, geothermal heating, cooling, biodigesters, et cetera, et cetera.
And then you offer, as you said, the food pairings. We're sitting here in the little bar area that you've got set up. What else is around?
Around the area or in the building? Both. So within the facility, you're welcomed into our food shop where we sell our own product as well as other local food and beverage suppliers. Then you come into the bistro here, where we have a French-style bistro that sells seasonal food items menu. It is a Feast Ontario certified by Ontario Culinary Tourism, which means we only buy locally sourced ingredients to produce all our food, which we produce on site in the kitchen. And to be the backbone of both the store and the restaurant is our bakery, where we produce artisan baked goods as well as wood-fired oven bread for both. And then actually the area we're in, which is why we moved out this way, this is a very touristy area. Bruce Trail, the Caledon Trail, as well as conservation areas and Badlands and the old Brickyard. There's a number of touristy areas here, including seasonal year-round. So the summer we've got lots of hikers, cyclists, and in the winter the Caledon Ski Club is just above us, so we actually have a lot of skiers coming through here on their way home from a day of skiing. And it's a bit of a touristy area, as well as 4 villages. We're actually right in the middle of 4 villages that surround us, so we actually have a good local support as well.
Excellent. What's the furthest away you've seen or heard of people coming by and said, oh, they're from wherever?
2 answers there. Ironically, like I said, especially because having the 4 villages around us, it's amazing how the community has really embraced what we do here and actually takes personal care and pride in it. So we actually, whenever families visiting somebody local from anywhere, like you're talking Asia, Australia, New Zealand, England, especially England, they bring them here for lunch because they want to show it off, which is kind of neat. So we have people from all over the world that come through here, and especially Europeans really find that they're feel at home here. But just customers directly, the best one I ever heard was actually a few years ago, ironically right at Christmas, I gave an interview on CBC Radio, and by the time I got home, this family from North Bay had heard the interview in the morning, got in the truck and drove here to have lunch.
There you go, far and wide, and it draws people around. Yeah. What is your team like here? How many people do you have involved in the process, and what are some of the roles that they have in making all of this come together?
Sure. We're definitely a combination. I mean, it's a farm, so we have outdoor workers and people working in the back in the juice plant, so making the juices and then doing all the bottling. But as well, we're running basically a store, a bakery, and a restaurant. So quite a few hospitality trained people. In total, depending on the season, we run anywhere from 20 up to 36 staff working here. We technically have 6 department managers, as well as myself. I'm basically the general manager and head cider maker. Basically a team of about 6 managers under me, and then full-time and part-time staff under them.
And then you've got a nice little plethora of options on tap right now. What is it that you've had over the past year?
Yeah, we have our main products. So we do a couple of different classic ciders, mostly apple, and then we do a couple of pear ciders. And then we actually rotate some seasonal ones. So we're definitely like a brew pub in that we constantly rotate seasonal ones. So we just finished in the fall, we do a pumpkin cider, like a pumpkin ale, that's really popular. And we just over the holidays, we do what's called a cranberry spritzer. So it's actually a light cider with cranberry in it. So it's great for the holidays, and it's also safe. You can have quite a few drinks and still be good to go. And then this winter, so we're just about to bottle, is what we call our Winter Bliss, and it's basically almost like a winter ale style cider. It's strong. It's about 6.9% alcohol. It's fermented with a little bit of orange peel and some maple syrup in it. So it's basically a New England style cider if you're looking at classic styles of cider. But we've tweaked it with some oak aging and a little bit of orange citrus to it.
Is there challenges now with the number of people that have entered the market to try to come up? Are you pressured for coming up with new content or new flavors? Or is it really just, well, we do what we do and people react to it in that form, so there's no need to feel threatened, I guess you could say, by others with their creativity and design?
Yeah, it's I see that as the future of the industry, and really what we're doing is we're following the footsteps of craft beer. Early on, you had in the craft beer industry, you had a few operations that stuck to just one type of beer. I hate to say it, like Steam Whistle does, and do it really, really well, which was their motto. And you saw Creemore do the same thing, but you saw the craft breweries that got into introducing and experimenting with all sorts of styles of beer, and that's what got people into craft beer, was trying these different seasonal types of beer. So we see the same thing in our industry. There's a number of entrants that are making one type of cider. Most of them tend to be, as in New World, we're here in Canada, New World style ciders, where we've always tried to maintain the classic style of ciders. So all our ciders are more of a European style, a little more funky, definitely more tannin in them, and then rotating these seasonal and experimental ciders. It keeps our customers interested. It keeps our bars and restaurants interested. It's more work for us, but it keeps us above where the rest of the pack is.
And as you sort of mentioned that it was in its infancy when you launched here. I remember the first time being introduced to cider was maybe 2006, and the only thing available was a Strongbow that you could get imported. We saw a couple years ago sort of Somersby come into the market, and around that time we really started to see a turn. Do you think that there's a connection between a commercialized product like that coming in, which has led to a growth, or was it more coincidence and a lot of the other work that was being done by the local Ontario ciders is what really started this sort of large boom of now that's 300-500% bigger within a couple of years?
Mm-hmm. The market. I think consumers, and what we've heard since we've opened, was for a lot of people, they had been looking for this type of a product. They didn't know what it was. All they knew was they were tired of beer, it made them feel full, or there was a gluten intolerance, and but wine was too strong for them, and they didn't know what they wanted. And I think that's where, for a while, through the 90s into 2000, you had the explosion of coolers, wine coolers, Mike's Hard Lemonade. So these made products, these manufactured products that were sort of filling that niche in the market that people were looking for. And it was only then in 2005, and I think more when you were really gluten-free was really becoming a food trend, and people were looking for something different, that suddenly cider became a growing product category. And like I said, we were making it at the time, and I think at the time too there wasn't the best products on the market, so people had tried cider and thought, oh, that's not my thing. And a few of us, and then internationally it was happening as well, which is why you saw some changes as Strongbow was what everyone knew at the time. Then Magners came out of nowhere from Ireland and took over the market from Strongbow, which really started to drive interest in the category in a large way. And that's when people started to drink local stuff as well, because we were starting to show up on the market. And then you saw Somersby come out of nowhere and blow all the competition out of the water. And as to today, carrying the dominant part of the market. But we're constantly seeing steady growth here. It's great for us overall, but in one way, though, like I said, it's sort of sad because Ontario grows a lot of apples. The industry's struggling, and yet we miss a monstrous opportunity here to supply our own product due to taxation.
You've so you've been along the process. You started, and you're a key with the association. How do you find the camaraderie amongst people? Are there still little rivals here and there? I'm assuming most of it, from what we've heard, has been very positive and cordial, and understanding that to get one more person drinking a cider means not one less customer, it means one more opportunity.
No, definitely. I mean, the sky's the limit. And again, like you see, craft beer, everyone thinks is in a mature stage, yet 100 new breweries came on market this year, and there's 100 in the pipe coming next year. So there's plenty of room for us because we're kind of coming in behind them. Overall, still most people don't drink cider. So like you said, it's not like we're competing for customers against each other so much as trying to just expand the category, expand the market. So we see huge potential. I mean, it's a young industry, and right now, yeah, mostly everyone's supporting each other. That's how the association got started, was a bunch of us doing a cider dinner down in Burlington, and around the table started to discuss forming association to champion our needs as an industry.
Why don't you talk a little bit about the tax challenges that have come through right now, and where you would hope to see things changing in the next couple of years?
Sure. So the association, since its formation, has been about lobbying the government to highlight the fact that they have a successful wine industry because they created the VQA and they've given a rebate back to that industry. The only reason that the craft beer industry has taken off the way it did was the government at that time changed taxation back in the late 80s to early 90s, and which finally made them profitable and allowed those companies to grow and generate economic benefit to the province. And we spent a lot of effort, basically the last 6 years, proposing our industry and how important we were. So it takes time, and we have gotten there. We did just announce in 2017 the new Ontario Cider program, which just finally got started really at the end of this year with the first payments out. It's a good start. Unfortunately, we didn't quite get what the craft beer industry got, and which is frustrating because that again just still holds us back. If we can't make money, then we won't buy more tanks, hire more people, put more product on the market. Because really to date, really up through 2016, this industry was a hobby. And similar to what the craft beer went through, these were people making product and really losing money doing it, but saw a vision and had passion and pushed their way through. And that's basically what we've done to today. We've finally got this program in place that's taking some of that pressure off, but it is frustrating when you see the market dominated by imports. All that work's being done somewhere else in the world. All that product's then shipped to Ontario and sold to consumers, but no one here is getting really any benefit from that. And yet that seems to be the way it's structured, is we're not enticed at all to do that. And even the program we have in place, unfortunately, has a very short life. It's only got 3 years on it, and it technically will expire unless we continue to lobby and push forward to maintain the life of the program.
Sounds like busy time over the next year and a bit for the association.
Exactly.
So I want to wish you all the luck going forward with it. Thank you for the time to chat here. On my way out, what was your favorite cider of 2017? Can you pick one?
2017 for me, we always, and actually we were one of the first cideries to play around with hopping ciders, and our hop ciders won a number of awards like not only in Ontario but in Canada and in North America. So we've always been happy with it, and I think it still tends to be the favorite cider of all the guys in the back. So that's always been one of my favorites. The lavender. We do a lavender pear cider that we did this year that really got a lot of attention at any of the festivals that we poured it at. It actually won at the. So part of our lobbying effort is we of course go to Queen's Park and pour cider now every year. Of course, they don't know the category unless they're trying the product. And so we were pouring it at an event at Queen's Park, and that cider was picked as the People's Choice by all the staff and MPPs at Queen's Park. So our lavender cider, our lavender pear cider, is a big winner at Queen's Park and is served at the restaurant at Queen's Park.
Thank you so much for your time, and I wish you all the best 2018 and beyond.
Thank you.